Hello, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. I was really disappointed that I didn't get to. I had a good idea for a video. I didn't get to filming it, but the important part was the day went not as bad as it could have gone here, and most importantly, that my child, for the most part, albeit was sick, but she was very happy. And that was the most important thing. It has been a little bit, I know. I'm not going to harp on this too much. I have never remembered being as sick as I just was. Never. Yeah, I used to drink every day for years, eat like crap. Never get sick. Now I'm healthy, I'm sober. It felt like I was hit by a car. Still not totally over the hump, but I feel good enough today, and the best I've felt in quite some time, that I wanted to fire this up for a few reasons. First being that I miss doing this. I miss filming things. There's been a lot I've wanted to film, and just talking to you guys and all that kind of fun stuff. It's funny how you get kind of almost addicted to it as well. You don't realize it until you're in too deep. So, if everyone is in here and everything is going okay, please let me know, because right now, more than most times, it's actually kind of not showing anything. Okay. I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or not. Well, I see Gavin wrote something. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, if my voice starts to go at any given point, I don't know how long I'm going to do this for, but yeah, things I wanted to get to sing a song of gratefulness. I'm not a singer, but if I was a singer, this would not be the time for me to attempt singing. Who knows? Maybe 2023 will be the year I do some singing on this YouTube channel. You never really can tell with these things, but I hope all of you did have a great time with your families. I hope you all gifted some great gifts to people that matter to you, and maybe you got something cool. If you did, that's great. I hope that you're appreciative towards it and that you love it. But other than that, I only have 2 or 3 things I'd like to speak of today. I know the thumbnail is going to give you some heads up on what it is. I'm not sure if I want to start right there. I have a lot preloaded for this segment. A lot. Robbo, I'm honestly, I feel so much better than I did almost a week ago. It was funny because on last stream I felt fine. I woke up Friday morning and it was the end of the world. Don't know, man. Don't know. Can't tell you what happened. But I want to talk about, obviously, the topic title here and why it's going to be the last time I'm talking about that stuff, and kind of just rehashing a few things about the year in YouTube, and I don't know where this might be going. Because I already said in the intro here, I don't think I'm going to stop. I kind of like doing, especially stuff like this, I like doing it too much to just stop entirely, but I think things are definitely going to change. Not just here, as far as you watching me through the screens, but in the room, a lot's going to change. So, do you guys want me to get right into this? And then we can get to the fun stuff? And I know anybody, yeah, we're going to do that, because most people who are going to see this, who will casually click in, that's what they're going to want to see. So let's load up our browser. Let me make sure I'm on the right tab. I am. Okay. So, hello? Oops. Oh, it was loaded on the wrong thing. My apologies. There you go. This should do it. Okay. Transformed. So the guitar that you saw in the thumbnail here was a very, very, very striking Fender Jaguar. It's black with gold hardware and a bound fingerboard on it. Now, this particular guitar, you're sitting here saying, okay, I'm just at the main site of Reverb. What am I talking about? Believe me, you're going to see this guitar a lot in the next few minutes. I'm giving you a little background here. This particular guitar was a guitar I knew was going into production a little bit ago from Kinko Music, who I have recommended several times. It's a Fender special run from them. And because of that and my inquiries back and forth with the shop, I have concrete pricing as far as breakdowns of everything as well, which we're going to get to, and all that fun stuff. And that some are still available, which is awesome. But also, this is it. I don't care who this pisses off. I really don't. But we have this guy. This is the guitar. All right? From Jimmy's favorite shop in the whole world. Okay? It's a 7 1/4 radius, alder body, bound neck, rosewood. Obviously, the gold appointments are very uncommon. And if you're somebody who looks around for offset guitars, I was talking to J&J about this earlier today. I said, good luck finding gold hardware that's of good quality, because a lot of the brands that would one spot make it, like Mastery on the aftermarket, they no longer do so. All right. So this guitar, $2,399 plus $125 shipping. Okay. Let's go to our calculator here. $2,399 plus $125 to ship it. Okay. Times, because you got to pay sales tax too. 0.08. That's the average. 201. All right, we're getting somewhere, I promise. Plus 25, 24. $2,725.92. Now, when a guitar is out of production, meaning you can't buy it new or open box anymore, when you see this kinds of pricing, yeah, it's kind of, it's not good for a consumer, because obviously it's pricing way out of control here. As we're going to see in a minute how out of control this price is, but it's more understandable. However, with the case of this guitar, there are 82 people watching this instrument. I hope to God at least a few of you of the 82 watching this are watching this video, because I'm going to show you. Kinko's currently has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them still in stock. Same guitar. They're all the same. And that's at least 7. So, 184,800 yen. Now, you might be thinking, that's, I don't know what that means. And that would be understandable. 3.7 kilograms. That's pretty light for a Jaguar, especially with an alder body. My shipping quote, as you could say, I clipped this from the email, was 17,200 yen. I also thought this was funny. So I translated 17,200 yen, which is DHL international shipping, was $4 more than our shop here in the Pacific Northwest, who wanted 125 for domestic shipping. And you can't tell me that I could ship a guitar as just a guy with a basic, almost doing no inventory UPS account, can ship a guitar to California for $70 or $80 fully insured, up to a few grand. But these guys are going to charge you $125. Okay, whatever. Call that what it is. Let's get to the big picture. You add in $1,720 to, what's our base price here? So call it just on average here, 200,000 yen. Be a little bit more, just for simplicity's sake. You'd be off by probably $10-20, but $1,500 with the shipping included is what this guitar would cost you. $1,500.98, or $2,725.92. I'm not sure about you guys, but here's a few other food for thought things. The first is this store. Obviously, these are all B-stock instruments that are available from them, or they wouldn't pop up on their website. But this store actually has to pay to be a Fender Japan dealer and stock inventory and do all that fun stuff. They actually have a lot of fees And to get the right to have these guitars built for them to begin with, you have to buy into Fender Japan to become a licensed dealer, to even have the opportunity. Now, Kinko's has been in business for over 50 years. So they're not new kids on the block here. This is actual time in and reliable, great shop versus scalpers. Because this is all this is. This is scalping, and this is not making a buck. This is not making a buck. You could almost buy two. You could genuinely almost buy two. So if you're one of those people, the 82 people that are considering this guitar, same guitar, no. Message Kaz. Just go right to here onto this website. B-Stock. Ask. Say, hello, Kaz. And remember, your buddy Jim here, I don't get a damn thing from any of this. I don't get a promo code. I don't get $1 back. I don't get kickback. I don't care. I just want people to be able to get these kinds of instruments for a reasonable price. You could say I'm full of shit. You could think whatever you want. At the end of the day, actions speak louder than words. Or I wouldn't show you guys this. I'd buy them and then just sell them for even if I sold them for $500 less. Even if I sold them for $500 less than these guys. I'm still making good money. To me, that's good money. But no, that's not my goal here. My goal here is to try and help people. And shops like the shop I just linked you are not out there for you. And that's fine. It's a business. I understand that. But as a consumer, who I typically try to represent, and I do represent because I don't own a store. I don't own any of this stuff. It is in my interest to try and help other consumers. And part of the reason I don't want to go down selling guitars anymore on YouTube or in general. I don't want to do it. So, also cool guitar that they have for sale. I haven't checked to see if price gougers or scalpers have this one in stock, but these are similar spec Jazzmasters with matching head caps. So it's based on a 65, just like my gold Jazzmaster, and you can see the price here even less. It's about 15,000 less. 15,000 yen, of course. But as you can see, binding but no block inlays. An exceptional alternative and infinitely better than anything you're going to get out of Fender Mexico. Period. I don't care who I'm arguing with at that point. It's silly to me. 3.56 kilograms. So these are also available. How many of these did they have? Oh, my bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the standard traditional 60s Jazzmasters, 116. Those have a 9.5-inch radius. No bound fingerboard, no matching headstock. And I believe those are not alder. I believe these are basswood. Yes, basswood. Yep. So, oh, and if you want one of those juniors, you don't need to spend $2,000 from another big YouTuber. You can get one for pennies here, too. Much cheaper. Just giving you guys a heads up on that stuff. So, I know times are tough. And I know I'm beating a dead record here. A dead horse. And I'm sounding like a broken record. That's the correct analogies I was going for. But this shit means a lot to me. Like, it just does. Especially as somebody who loves the Fender Jaguar. And seeing that they're hard to get good ones of right now. And that Fender don't make a good American one that's traditional. Johnny Marr's not really traditional at all. So some people, you know, they'd be more tempted to look at something like that Japanese black one. It's a beautiful instrument. Might not be for you, but if it is, if I could have just saved you $1,200 and helped a mom and pop that's been in business for 50 years in the process, I consider that a win and a good deed. Let's see some comments. You get just a gig bag with a $2,725 guitar. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, to be fair, PRS CE24 is going to cost you around that new. If you were to purchase at that price, you're still getting a gig bag with that too. Those days are long gone. Getting hard cases. There's one thing I'll give Fender America credit on. to some extent. The American Professional 2s and up come with hard shell cases, which is kind of how it should be in my book. When you have a guitar that expensive, you know, over $1,500, it should come with a hard shell case in my book. But there's other brands that do it too. Hi, David, Biff, Alan, F. I'm just going to call you F. Charging $1,200 more for the same instrument isn't being a business. It's robbing people. That's disgusting. That's my point. And that's my exact standing on it. And I know I'm going to get heat for this. And I know that there's a few people that either love that shop or are from that shop that watch this channel, because I've had some hilarious defense of that shop. There's no defending that. That's not just, I'm honestly making a buck or two here. There's no effort in that. It's you wait for the line to show up, you order, you email, you get it, and that's it. There's nothing complicated, nothing hard about that. $1,200 more for that? For you to write your essay? Get the fuck out of here. I'll never change. I apologize for that. But as I stated, this is the last time we're going to do this. Don't buy from that shop. I'm just going to come out and say it. If something is available still new, and if you don't know if something's still available, if it's the same model year, you could send me a damn email. And I'll tell you if it is, and I'll find it for you if it is available, and I'll send you the link myself. Okay? This is not a good time financially in this world. $1,200 to me, I'd be much happier keeping that in my pocket extra. That's just me, dude. Hey, Hugh. I'm doing my best, Hugh. Louisiana, that's cool. My buddy, who I worked on the last record on, which you'll be hearing a song from this weekend, because I don't care anymore. I've had the masters. I'm posting one of the mastered songs this weekend, and the studio playthrough of me tracking that was a lot of fun. Nothing too complicated. Nothing that's gonna say, oh, he's such a good guitar player. No, it's just me having fun and showing how I'm one of the only people that I know, at least these days, that in a studio environment, everybody sits in the control room and plays back or tracks the song, rather. I'm not like that. I don't sit. I stand up in the live room about 5 feet from a cranked amp. In this case, it was Rocker Verb 100 with a 4x12. I was about 5 feet away from it. So I could hear the click. That's what I had blasting in my ears, and just having a field day. Just jumping and dancing and having fun. That's what it's all about. So you'll see that this weekend. And yeah. See how things go. You hilarious. I bought 9 Jazz Masters from Digimart for less than $1,000. Yeah, exactly. And those guitars are regularly over $2,000 on the Reverb, the Fleaverb, the promoted shops by our darlings at Reverb. Not that they're saints either. But this is not about them. Cheers from Venice. Thinking about California a lot lately. Let me see here. I just had the PRS SC Hollow. Oh, you did buy it? You did buy that guitar? And isn't that cool that comes with a decent hard case? I always thought that was very impressive. I mean, it's Chinese. So it's like, yeah, it should come with a hard shell case, a Chinese guitar for $1,500. But like I said, a CE24 has import parts on it, and no hard case for $1,000 more than that. So, and I like Paul Reed Smith. I like Paul Reed Smith a lot. Is that a new Mustang back there? I've had this guitar for a week and a half. I got so sick. I have playing done on it. This is the first day I've felt decent enough to talk, like presenting wise into a microphone, into a camera. It's a cool guitar, man. It's the very first run of reissues from Fender Japan. It's an E serial. Very hard to find Mustang. Actually called the Collector Series. But we'll learn more about that whenever I get to it. The house looks good. Shut up, James. What do you mean the house looks good? This is not a house. This is a room of debauchery. And the reason all this stuff is out right now, just do an inventory of what I really want to keep. I do this every year, and what I'd be okay with selling. And this year, I think it'll be a little bit more surprising than some people may think, with a few decisions. Yes, you may always ask a question, but you must I think, what's the super chat amount to ask a question? I think it's 5,000. I'm bullshitting. Just ask it. Yeah, dude, I don't care. Anderton's had sold out, but Peach have it at the same price, $7.99. How much is it normally in the UK? Because I know in the United States, I believe that's a $1,500 guitar, the one with the Piezo or the Piezo. Probably both of those pronunciations are wrong, if I'm being honest with myself here. Just like I was saying kunaife for many years. Kunafe. I already don't like those pickups. Well, I don't care for them. I don't dislike them. But having to say kunafe didn't help the cause. Oh, man. I do find that funny, though. Yeah, if you can get a guitar like that for $800, why not do it? And if you like it, then you win. But it's just funny to me, man. I just can't believe. It's bad enough the vintage guitar market is ruined, like completely ruined, but ruining like modern day Japanese guitars that are like, I don't get it. Okay, question: what is the best way for a Californian to buy an Edwards? Can you suggest any dealers on eBay? I would not buy on eBay. Which Edwards do you want? That's the first question. Do you want a lacquer touch, which is an LTS? Do you want a 125? Do you want a 130? Do you want a 95? An 85? Do you want one of the quilted ones? Does it matter what pickups are in it? Because honestly, those little things matter a lot. Because depending on what you want and how mass produced it is, even somewhere really conservative like Ishibashi, you could get an Edwards used in really good shape for like $600 to your door, $600, $650. Even with their DHL rate is crazy these days, which makes no sense. I think it's twice as much as what Kinko's is. But outside of that, you could check out Ikibe Music. Another a really good site is TC Gaki. Oh yeah, you want a lacquer touch 130. Okay, those do pop up at Ishibashi. Nico Guitars, another really good place to get those at. Let me load this up because I'm just gonna shout them. So you have Nico Guitars, you have TC Gaki, Kibe Music. I don't believe Kinko's stocks Edwards. If they did, they'd be up there for me too, but I think that they do not. Okay, so I have there. Those are three really good places to start with that. And then if you want to look around and also just check out some other Japanese Les Pauls in general, because it's good to keep your mind open. Depending on if weight really matters to you or not, or price really. You have a lot of options. You have Bacchus. The handmade Japanese ones are very affordable. Very affordable guitars by comparison of like Gibson standards. Those are pretty frequently available used. You have Tokai. The made in Japan Tokais, the higher kind of echelon-ish. Anything over like 155 and you're sitting pretty good with one of those guitars. Yeah, there's a lot of brands. Cruise Maniac, amazing, or even Fujigen. But those places that I just listed are a really good place to start, dude. Give it a shot. All right, thoughts on the AVR 2 reissue 51? I think you're going with a hybrid taster. Very difficult to compare those two. Because with the hybrid 2 Telecaster, you're getting a very modern neck. That alone makes these guitars almost incomparable outside of the shape. When you play any 50 style Telecaster, you're getting the classic U, the big fills your hand neck. It's kind of like part of the experience of it, and the vintage radius. So a hybrid Telecaster is going to be coming with a lot thinner of a neck and a modern radius on it. And is one better than the other? That's up to your own tastes and that kind of nature. But I will say, if you're looking at Japan, let me see if I still have them up and if they have any in stock. Hold on one second. There's a 2008 130 on eBay. It's from an American dealer. He imported it. 1800 is batshit high. That's almost double what I would pay for one of those. And that's not me being picky. That's like, yeah. You have to think 130 signifies, well, if you don't know this, another quick educational thing here. The 130 at the end of that signifies how many yen it costs new. So that was 130,000 yen. Depending on the year, obviously with inflation, that's going to vary, but these models are still in production, and even though little things will change from year to year, in general, for Edwards guitars, the specs stay somewhat similar as far as hardware that you're getting is going to be Goto, the pickups are going to be Duncan's, and if you want one of the customs, Seth Lover pickups, I believe, are what comes standard on those nowadays. And there are other options with other Seymour Duncan pickups on them as well. But back to the train of thought here. Let me load up the browser and I'll show you what I'm talking about and why that price is nuts. Okay, so let's go back to Kinko, but I don't want to go to Kinko. We're going to go to 130 yen to US dollars. That's how much that guitar costs new in Japan. So used from Japan, that would be my basis of explaining why I'd be okay paying that maximum to my door. And that's typically what you would find one of those guitars at. I don't recommend eBay. eBay is a middleman 9 times out of 10 who you are paying a finder's fee from in Japan to get the guitar and send it to you, or it's something like what you just mentioned, somebody in America, similar to Reverb, who bought it and will tell you some tales about how it took him 9 months to get the guitar. He imported it himself. It cost him $5,000 to import a $1,000 guitar, but he did the hard work for you, and now he wants double. So I'd steer clear from that. That's really expensive. Wouldn't go down that route. That's just personal advice and personal experience of doing this for a long time. If that was helpful, I hope that was helpful. Yes, very steep, very steep. Oh, I did want to check out one other thing though at Kinko's because we were talking about Telecasters. Okay, so you mentioned you wanted to look at the American Vintage 2 versus the Hybrid 2. Why not consider one of these? This is typically as high-end production as you're ever going to get from Fender Japan. This is all vintage spec, nitro over urethane, which is actually the same as American Vintage 2. It's not the same as the pure vintage AVRIs, which were in my opinion, the best ones they ever made. Those included the 65 Jazzmaster, which I have one of those. The 65 Jaguar, I had one of those. No, I never had one of those. I want one of those, sorry. The 63, was it? No, it was a 64 round lamp rosewood Telecaster, rosewood necked Telecaster. Yeah, a bunch of cool guitars, and a 65 Strat. But anyways, point being, these guitars are very similar to that. 173,000 yen. So if you do 173,000 yen plus the shipping rate, which we had quoted back to here at 1720, rough math of that. Oh God, just I want that off my screen as soon as possible. But so call it 190,000. 190. 1, 2, 3. Yen to US dollars. That's how much one of those would cost you. Made in Japan, vintage spec 52 style Telecaster with nitro over poly. Something to consider, my friend. Something to consider, my friend. And again, I have no affiliation with the shop other than the fact that I like to talk to Kaz. Seems like a good enough guy, and I've known him for a bit now. So I can highly recommend their business. And you don't stay in business for 50 years if you don't do a good job, especially in that country. So, some alternatives for you, my friend. Yeah, Travis. Something to think about there. Think about it. Okay, I think I got the vintage bug, so I'll probably get it up. Yeah, the Heritage line is fantastic. In the Heritage line, you'll find the Telecaster, the Stratocaster, and the Jazzmaster. Those are the 3 production models of Heritage guitars. The Jazzmasters will come with a gold anodized pickguard and a white/white blonde body, a rosewood fingerboard, and a 7 1/4 radius. The Stratocasters, I believe they're currently 3-tone sunburst with rosewood. But sometimes I've seen variations of those. 50s Road 1 Preventerra are pretty good too. Yeah, you get one that's had the frets addressed on it. Absolutely. Not bad at all. Some of the better Mexican guitars that they've ever made. Those ones and the Baja Telecasters, Baja 60s. I really like that guitar. That was good. And my other favorite Mexican guitar line was the Nitro Lacquer offsets. They had a Jazzmaster in surf green and a Jaguar, which I had one of, in Fiesta red. 7 1/4 inch radius. No matching headstocks on either, but vintage spec and nitro. And rosewood. I can only imagine what one of those would cost today. It'd probably be a $2,000 guitar from Mexico. Or you could just buy one of these ones from Japan and have better build quality. And yeah, it's just wild. It's just wild. But I have one more Fender review. Well, Fender FMIC. Actually, no, that's not. Yeah, I have one more product that can be purchased new from FMIC that I will be reviewing at some point in this year. But outside of that, I think we're done. And the product I will be reviewing is not mine, nor is it a guitar. I figured it would be something different and something fun. I just got a Preventerra 60s and Ice Blue off of a trade. Is it worth it to upgrade the bridge, or is it good enough? What is good enough? What don't you like about it? That's a genuine question. When you're assessing modifying a guitar, sometimes we could spend too much time looking at a spec sheet or reading a forum or listening to dumbasses like me on the internet, on YouTube, right? Does it not feel right as far as the tension when you use the vibrato? Is that one of the problems? Is it not returning to tune reliably after usage? Or does it not ring out right? Or does it feel like, I don't know. If you have a direct reason, then you start there. If it's a tension issue, that's something that I would start with actually just trying to work with it. Before you throw money at problems, one of the best things that you can do is learn skills. And a great skill, Stratocaster, they're fun to learn on. Real fun. But once you figure it out and you get the setup dialed in right, it's very rewarding. Adjusting the claw on the back, adjusting the amount of screws that are being used for the actual system itself is going to impact how it interacts with you and how it feels. And also string tension. All of these things play off of each other. So if you're asking me, hold on. I've had problems with the cheaper bridges, jumping off the saddles, heavy-handed. Okay. Give it some hard playing. Before you do anything, play the hell out of it. If saddles are starting to jump, what you can do is you can take a small file appropriate towards whatever string you're having the issues with, if it's jumping out of, and just a little bit of a groove, not too much, with the file. Put in some Big Ben's nut sauce, or if you're not somebody who wants to spend any money and you have chapstick in the house, something like that. I've seen crazy things. Crazy things. You don't always need to use a name brand product. Little things like that will work as a lubricant, where the string is actually sitting on the saddle itself. And yeah, that'll help kind of seat it a little bit more. Outside of that, I do like Callahan products. I really do. Maybe if you could find, if it really just doesn't work for you, I just feel like it's a diminishing return upgrade. Because the Callahan bridge is going to cost you, geez, in this market, probably over $200. If I had to just spitball off the top of my head. It's been a while since I looked at the strap bridges, but I know a man-made is $250. So probably around that if you wanted the full thing, as far as the actual plate, the block, the screws, the claw, and the saddles themselves. And you would want the import spec one. You don't want to just drop in American spaced ones or anything that might not potentially line up correctly, because then if your string alignment is messed up, you've introduced a lot more problems. I would just give it a try. Oh, Jazzmaster changes things a little bit. Okay. No. I would disagree. I would get the guitar set up. I would set up the guitar adequately. Now, I was going to make a video on this, but you know what? The hell do I care? You're here. You have a question. I'm going to show you something. There's a lot of stereotypes, Jazzmasters and Jaguars, that have this bridge on it. Okay? This is a vintage style bridge. This is off of a Fender traditional 60s made in Japan. So this isn't like an American vintage. It's nothing super high end. This is just vintage style bridge. A lot of people will say that they have that problem, and that they have the problem of not being able to use a gauge of string they like. So they'll read on the internet or listen to people on the internet that say, if you're going to play an offset guitar and you're going to use this style of bridge, or even if you're not, some people will say, you need to use at least 12s, 12 gauge strings or up to make it work, or flat rounds. That's not true. Now, this guitar has 9s on it with the vintage bridge. I could slam this guitar. Now, forgive me, I'm not going to be playing particularly well or a song. I'm just going to hammer the point home that I'm going to wail just for a second here. Not one jump. And I'm hitting it. I'm not holding back. You set these guitars up right, this bridge will hold just fine, even with 9 gauge strings on it. You could do it. You could do it. One thing to keep in mind, you want to make sure that if you do anything to the bridge post, because some people also say you might want to, depending on the model. I know you have a Preventerra. This is just general thoughts here, because I'm thinking about Jazzmasters and Jaguars, and this was something I was going to talk about anyways. I might as well get it all out. Electrical tape is extremely important for some models, so that the bridge doesn't move around as freely If you're going to be using lighter gauge strings, that can be an issue. You want to make sure you're actually using electrical tape, though. Otherwise, your guitar is not going to be grounded correctly, because there's actually a ground wire that connects here and then through into the volume pot. So if that connection doesn't have the bridge posts themselves making that solid contact, you're going to have grounding problems. And that's similar if you were to use something like the Graphtec saddles, which are not made of any sort of metal. They're a composite material. Your guitar is not grounded at that point anymore. You could do that if you wanted to, but what you want to do is ground, then drill a hole and ground from the vibrato itself. But the main meat and potatoes is you don't need to replace this bridge. I'm a firm believer of that. And I play hard funk. That's my bread and butter. My bread and butter is chucking with my right hand and just mashing out. And I can get away with it on a vintage bridge with nines. So it can be done. Mess around, have fun. Whoa. I apologize for that playing. I wasn't trying to be musical. I was just trying to beat it. Just trying to beat it. That sounds terrible. I was just trying to abuse it and really put some oomph into it. And I feel confident telling you that, and I feel confident telling anyone that. The important thing with the Jazzmaster or Jaguar and that is to make sure the break angle is good. That's it. You get the break angle right, you're fine. You're fine. And the break angle, if you don't know what that is, would basically be, this is your bridge right here. The break angle is the angle in which it's going to come down into the actual vibrato unit itself. If it's too straight or the bridge is too low, then yeah, your strings are going to pop out every time you give it a serious kind of wail. That can cause a problem though with action, right? Well, yes and no. Depends. Some neck heels on Fender guitars, or modern ones, it's actually adjusted for that. And other times, there are other instances when something like a 0.5, a 0.25, or in an extreme case, a 1 degree shim will fix all of that. And in the case of that pink Jaguar, it has 0.75 or 3/4 of a degree shim in it. And I play that with nines in a vintage bridge. Hard. Fine. It's perfect. You can do it. The issue I had with the vintage bridge is it kept sinking and the slot screws would unscrew themselves. The blue Loctite is very helpful with that. It is. A lot of them come with almost like a plastic these days. That's very hard. Like the Johnny Marr bridge, if you just go and look at them independently for sale, they have it. It's very cool material that will help kind of maintain the height. So that's one thing that will happen. That will happen less often. Yeah, and then you have alternatives like Mastery and stuff like that. Yeah, the Fender Stage Tram. Oh, you mean the American Pro one? A little bit different from a real stage tram, but it's close enough. The stage tram will make both. And Fender American Professionals. Just make sure you get the one with the 52 millimeter spacing on it, not the 56.5. Otherwise, your string spacing is going to be all screwed up. They had to actually adjust that because Fender are careless. They don't get details right anymore. Thankfully, the bridge isn't rattling. I had that issue with the Classic Vibe. So far, it seems like this one has been set up. I'm hoping it won't be giving me issues. Well, in general, just don't address an issue until there is an issue. Don't make an issue that isn't there. I've done that. I've done that a lot of times, whether it comes to guitar pickups or bridges, or tuners, or the nut of a guitar. Play the hell out of it first. Play it hard. And see what holds up. And if everything checks out, awesome. If it doesn't, You know where the actual problems areas are. It might be something you didn't plan on that might not live up to what you wanted. Best advice, just play, man. Just play your guitar. I went for a while here today. I went way longer than I thought I was going to. My voice feels like it's starting to give, though. Let me check something. Ah, all right. Beautiful. Well, I'm happy so many of you guys have checked in. And I'm happy that I was able to answer a lot of direct questions. If any of you have any other things you want to spitball off at any time, not just now, whenever we do these, I have no problem giving whatever, advice I can give. If I feel it's good advice, or if I can at least, prove what I'm saying, especially with the Pink Jag. There are some people on this internet who will say what I did with that guitar is impossible. You can't do that. You can't have nines on a Jaguar and have the action playable and use a vintage bridge. You can't do that. Really. Really now. Mess around. Have fun. I'm convinced that pretty much everything will stay in place with some Loctite. I've had to put sights on, and those stay in place really well with Loctite. Yes, the problem is not the problem, but the thing you have to be wary of is to use the right Loctite. And that's why the blue Loctite in the instance of a guitar bridge is really cool, because it's not as rough to undo. Some Loctite, you're not getting it. Once that's on, man. That's on. Unless you really want to commit. But yeah, stuff's gold, man. Loctite and Gorilla Glue. Both absolutely mandatory if you do a lot of maintenance work or just repairs in general. It's good stuff to have around. It's cool. But you all, I appreciate every one of you guys. I'm gonna have some tea, I believe, and I'm gonna try to have a video about this Mustang, because it is a really cool guitar, and I have the hard part out of the way. Well, normally the hard part. A little bit of playing done. That's been filmed for over a week. I'll try. Hopefully tonight I'll be able to do it. But other than that, you will see an original song. That should be fun. I'm sure nobody will click on that because it's not a Harley Benton review. But in all seriousness, that will be something I can do, because I don't need to talk to do that. I can just post it, sync up the video with the audio, and I'm all done. And maybe something for New Year's Day. We'll see how I feel. But I appreciate all of you. I really do. And I hope you all have a wonderful New Year's. If I don't talk to you before then, be safe. Don't drink and drive. Yeah, remember, it's just one night. And really, if you actually like drinking, it's one of the shittiest nights to go out. It's amateur hour. That and the day before Thanksgiving. And St. Patty's Day. 3 worst days to go out drinking. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.